Okay, the arms are a little tricky, only because the pieces are really, really small. And one of the major changes I made was with the swivel between the shoulder and the bicep. And you notice it's different from the original design using this piece here, which is the swivel. And you can tell because the bottom of it's flat, has this kind of weird shape to it. And then it's got the clamp in the end. So the way you do this is you kind of go from the side, and there's an opening, and then there's a part that doesn't have more of a connection here. You can kind of see that part is the back, this part is the front. You want to take this guy and you want to put it into the front, and there's a little bit of wiggle room, which is the best part of PTG. You can actually kind of move it out of the way. Now, it may not look like it's in there secure, but believe it or not, it is. Reason being, the outer armor is actually going to help hold it in place. Now, this is the part you need to kind of pay attention to. The bicep is different for the left and the right arm, obviously. If you look at this piece here, there's a part that's a little bit more curved. That is the inside of the bicep. And the flat part, or excuse me, the more square part is actually the back by the elbow. And then if you kind of look at the back, you see the tricep area is slightly smaller than the bicep. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slide this guy in from the top. And you actually have to go square in this way, because if you look on the inside of it, actually, it's actually a little bit more square. And that lines up with the bone directly. Now, once it goes all the way in, you can push the bone and the swivel all the way in. And if you notice, it actually holds it in place. There's just enough tolerance to hold that bone in place and allow you to freely swivel with the connection for the elbow right here. See that? Okay, let's set that aside. Now I'm going to work on the forearms. Forearm is pretty much either or, but again, same thing. If you kind of look at here, there's a part, I'm trying to focus on that, that's a little bit more rounded than the other. That is the front of the arm, front of the forearm, excuse me. So we'll take this piece right here like this, and we're going to come from the bottom, match it up with the square side, and just kind of put it up there. And you can see this is where the swivel for the elbow is ultimately going to go. So now we have an assembled bicep, we have an assembled forearm. Next thing, we're going to go ahead and connect the elbow. The little part that sticks out is where the elbow cap is going to go. Another difference in the design is I actually made the elbow similar to the knee, where it's actually a cap. Easiest way to put this in is from a slightly 90-degree angle like this, and then kind of just put it in there and then rotate it to make sure it moves freely, which in this case it does right there. And I did it backwards. All right, see, this is what you not do. This is actually backwards. So this is a good learning lesson. Take my precision pliers. I'm going to just kind of have this help me pull that out of there. Let's do this the right way. Rounded piece is the front, as you see there. And then we're going to go and try that again. 90 degrees, go in, and then we check for movement. Excellent. Next, we take the forearm again, rounded piece in the front, like so. And then we go ahead and just bring it in there, 90 degrees, and turn. And plenty of movement. We're good to go. Next, we're going to go and put in the shoulder bone. As this guy here. This one's slightly wider for the male figures. I'll be making female figures later. Give it a little bit less of a distance there, but this is the shoulder bone, as you can see. And that one just kind of pops right in place. Very easy. Right there. Yeah, give it a nice swivel. Okay, like so. Finally, we're going to put in the armor piece, skin piece for the shoulder. Now, this one's a little bit tricky, and what you want to do is you want to kind of give it some space, because you're going to need that when you put this in. There's very little wiggle room for this guy, and you might actually need to put a little effort in this one. But it kind of goes on the bottom sideways first, like this. And then put it in, and then you turn it. And this, again, takes a little effort, but as you turn it in place, you see it kind of covers up and actually puts tension on the cap to help make sure that goes nowhere it's not supposed to. And voila. If you look, when the arm is straight, it actually kind of looks like this right there. Cool. All right, I'm going to do this again for the other arm, but I'm not going to make you sit through it. So I'm going to stop it here, put the other arm together. Once it's done, we're going to move forward to the legs. Okay, I'm back, and now we have 2 fully assembled arms ready to go. I'm going to set these guys aside because we are now going to move ahead to the legs. So legs are very similar to the arms, where they have the new modified parts. That includes the swivel for the hip. Here, as you can see, we have the thigh, and then we also have the swivel part of it. Coming in through the front, we kind of just adjust that in, put it in place. Then we take the thigh muscle. Now, excuse me, the thigh armor. Now, the thigh armor is very similar to the bicep, where it's one is for one side and the other one's for the other side. Because if you look on here, inner part of the thigh is slightly larger than the outer part, and then obviously the front and the back, kind of the back of the thigh kind of curves into the butt area there. So we're going to go ahead and assemble this guy first. And then the other thing you also want to check is which one looks right. Now you see here, this one doesn't, and it's really kind of hard to tell on the camera because it's white. This doesn't exactly match up because this cap for the hip is the wrong side. So the right side, or the correct side, would be here. And there's actually a slight line that kind of goes down this way. And you can tell this is the proper cap for this side of the leg. Now the calves on the bottom side don't matter as much, but the thighs do. So we're going to take this guy here. We're going to go ahead and put this bone in here, very similar to the biceps. And you can see there's a slight squareness to it. So I'm going to slide that in. Give it a little push, test the swivel. Looks good, feels good. Set that aside. Moving on to the calf area. Doesn't matter left or right on this one. I'm going to slide the bone from the bottom right here and square that up, push it through. Very easy. There we go. That one's good. Next, we assemble the kneecap and the knee swivel. Here, you see the little tip. That is where the kneecap goes. That obviously faces the front. So we're going to go take this guy here, because the bending backwards, coming in at 90-degree angle. What I like to do also is I kind of push that bone as high up as I can. This actual ball piece will stop it from going any further. Push it down and then swivel it in to test, and it feels good. Same thing for the thigh. Bring it in 90 degrees or so, and this is a little tricky without hurting myself. There we go. Ooh, ouch. That one did hurt. All right, let's try that. There we go. All right, in there, straighten it out. And there it is. We have, missed. Let's try that again. There we go. Not a go. Yeah, see, double check your work here. There we go. That's in there now. Straightened out, fully assembled. No, not fully assembled. So the difference between the thigh and the bicep is that there's no extra hinge or double hinge for the hip. I did that intentionally. The first time I tried, it didn't really need it. So I figured, why waste the materials? Now the cap goes on. Come in from the side. Rotate. And then adjust. Line it up. And you can see here, it kind of just becomes one piece. This is the left leg. Go ahead, stop the video, put together the right leg. You don't need to wait for that. So, okay. Through the magic of video editing, we now have 2 fully assembled legs. Left leg, right leg. I'm going to set these guys aside. We're almost done. We're going to move on to the feet now. The feet are probably the easiest. It should be the easiest. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the magnetic toe, or excuse me, the toe meant for a magnet. This fits a 10mm by 2mm magnet. Here I used actually a black one, just because it, well, looks cooler. And it just slips right in. Very little space per movement. You actually have to put that in there. And sometimes I actually just use the table to help me kind of hold it flat and out. And there you go, right there. And then the next thing you do is you put in the foot bone. This is the foot, the ankle, This is part of the redesign as well. You notice it's very similar to the elbow and kneecaps. I'm going to shove that in there. Just like that. Fully assembled foot. We put on the toe cap or armor piece, skin piece, whatever you want to call it. Snap that in place here a little bit, click. Right there. Finally, we're going to put in the back foot right here. This is the back foot. A little bit of a divot right there. You see where it slides in. Now, this is actually the same for both the left and the right foot, so you don't need to worry about that part. But you slide that into the back, and then the clamp kind of holds that right there. So now we have 2 fully assembled magnetic feet ready to go. Final step is to put everything together and put on the last final caps.